Hi there, Erica from Spring Body Talk here. I wanted to talk to you about self-esteem. This is a trend that I'm seeing both in my practice and in families and in society in general. Of course, we think about self-esteem in terms of either having kind of healthy, high self-esteem or confidence, and then having low self-esteem. And often where this kind of measurement comes from are aspects that are outside of ourselves. So when I see this in students or children, especially middle school, high school, their sense of self-esteem is often coming from either how well they did on a test, or if they scored the winning goal or not in their game, or perhaps how many likes they got on social media that day. And when it's not up to the level that they want it to be or think it needs to be, there's a great deal of anxiety generated, and that feeling of not really knowing who I am and not feeling very secure in who I am. And I know if you have kids or if you pay attention to some of the news around social media, you know that this is like a really growing trend in our society. Now, I see this too in parents. So, as parents, we're also basing our self esteem on how well we fulfill our roles and responsibilities towards others. So, how well do I serve others? For a mom, it might look like how well can I, do all the things for my family, keep the house clean, cook the meals, make sure everybody's got everything they need, and maybe hold down an outside job out of the home. How well I do that is how good I feel about myself as a person. Um, Often this will look like if I get a promotion or not at work, if I can get the reports in on time, how much money's in my bank account, and what car do I drive. So you can see all of these factors of how good I feel about myself are outside of me. And the potential through the work that I do is to actually take that perspective and turn it 180 degrees so that now I'm looking inside of myself. And when I look inside, it's no longer self esteem. I'm actually looking at my inherent value. So, inherent is something that I'm born with, it's something that is within me, of me, and it never changes. And when I can tap into that part of myself, then needing that feedback from things outside of me, worrying about a test score or likes on social media, um, the pressure of that really decreases because I know in here that I have inherent value. I know that my self-worth is not based on how well I do or how well I serve others. So this to me is, when I look at the situation with schools and with kids at the moment, it's tragic to me. It's tragic how much pressure they're putting on themselves to perform outwardly, and that there's no focus on how to get to know myself and how to tap into that intrinsic value. Because what happens when I understand my value and I feel very centered and grounded and confident in myself, it's from that place that I actually get very creative and very innovative, and it creates an ability to put myself out there in the world in a way that's quite vulnerable. And in this case, I'm not speaking of vulnerability as a bad thing. It's actually really good to put yourself out there in a vulnerable way, knowing that whatever feedback, whatever criticism comes back at you can't hurt you. It doesn't have the power to do that because you know your own inherent value. And when we take chances like that, when we take risks like that, that's where we get to grow, right? That's where we get to learn and evolve, and new things come out of this, new systems come out of this. And so when I see kids who are having trouble doing that and are kind of shutting down based on the feedback they're getting from this kind of idea of self-esteem, it's a tragedy to me to think that those amazing minds and amazing thinkers are not going to feel safe enough to put themselves out in the world. Now, from an adult perspective, our kids are only going to model what they see, right? What they learn. They learn from us and they watch us as parents. And so to me, and I've learned this firsthand in my own family, that it has to start with me. So it's my opportunity I take it as a responsibility as a parent and as a leader in both in my family and my community to turn that gaze inward and really find my own sense of self-worth and to find my own inherent value. And that's a tricky thing because we all have learned over time, right, to look outside of ourselves. So to let go of my attachment to being all things to all people, to saying yes when I really mean no, and to finding my inherent worth and serving others from that place, right? It's a place of inspiration. And when I'm very grounded in my own center is very apparent to me, then how I serve others is very clear. It's very easy to give from that place with an open heart, and it's also easy to receive. And often when we have this idea that self-esteem is outside of us, it's actually really hard to receive. So in finding our own center, in really feeling grounded in ourselves, having a very strong sense of self, and that the confidence that really comes with that when it starts on the inside, that's what we get to model to our kids. That's what we get to model to our students or our anybody else that we're leading. And for me, leadership is really that leading by example. I get to model that, and they get to see what it looks like to feel vulnerable, to put yourself out there, and also to be safe at the same time. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. It's what I wish for all of you, and it's my hope for this my kids' generation and all future generations to really be able to be vulnerable, to feel confident in my own inherent worth enough to really put myself, my ideas, and my creativity out there in the world. So if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. If you have any questions, please send them my way.